Do I like Tekken 8? Hold on, I'll answer that in a bit. Sorry, let me focus on this match. Good, good, good. We got it. Do I like Tekken 8? I I like it, but it has a lot of room to improve. Honestly, I'm in this autumn season. I'm taking a break. I've been taking a break. I've been playing other games, Genshin Impact, um, just gacha games, and a bit of Virtua Fighter, really, and just locking in on real life. To be honest, hold on, let me focus. I'll answer more in a bit. Continuing my answer on Tekken 8, I think it was around I think it was around July, late July or early August that I decided that I'll just take a break from Tekken, just wait for Armor King to come back and then just get the updates and lab anti-Armor King stuff in Lee Chaolan's perspective. And actually, funny enough, in August there's several games coming out in October. Sorry, not August, October. There's several games coming out in October that are literally that have my attention. So I'm literally putting Tekken on the back seat for the time being. Tekken 8 on the back seat. Um, it's good, but the season two needs more work. And the frustrating thing is that we are season two started in April, right? So we're in that's April, May, June, July. Sorry, April, May, June, July, August, September. We're in October now, so let's just say we're in the seventh month of season two. That's literally over halfway through the year's lifespan of season two. And I would say to some extent, it's 6 months of wasting people's time. Um, I mean, competitive Tekken aside, I mean, for those who enjoy it, I think people have been trying to find a reason to hold on to Tekken 8. Some people have drifted away, and honestly, I'm not surprised. But some people are holding on. I mean, the pro players, they have to play because of sponsors and just, remaining competitive and and all that. People still go to locals here and there, and that's really good. But like health wise, I would say Tekken 8 is obese. It needs to lose a bit of weight, trim a bit of fat, and just be in a more healthy state. Nerf some stuff, nerf a good handful of stuff. In fact, what I would ever say is that for every buff that a character receives, that character needs to have three nerfs as a ratio. In my opinion, anyway. If they are deciding to remain aggressive in Tekken 8. And don't get me wrong, because Tekken 8, I understand that they want the game to be aggressive. And I've had experience playing different fighting games, Soul Calibur, the Soul Calibur series, Virtua Fighter even, you know, which has helped with making swift decisions on the fly. Tekken players who have not played Virtua Fighter, they're too used to movement and using, movement as a way to, earn buttons. But with the direction Tekken 8's going, I understand why, because they need to shake things up a bit and attract new players and, they have to make their money. I get that. But there's things that need to go, like jailing strings. Jailing strings need to go. A lot of moves, like I'll give an example. Alyssa's down +4, 1+2. It's a low high, but it jails. It shouldn't jail in my opinion. But I think the reason why they've started to implement more jailing moves is so that people have more of a variety of moves where they can, express their aggressiveness. That's what they're aiming for. But I think it's a bit too much. They were a bit overambitious. You know the story of Perseus and wait, is it? No, it's Icarus and what's his name? They Dallas, right? Icarus wanted to, he wanted to fly really, really high. He had, high ambitions. Sorry, I'm just paraphrasing the story, but he had high ambitions. But he flew way too high. He thought he was king. He thought he was going to be king of the sky. He thought he was going to touch the sun, but he was overly ambitious. And what happened? His wings melted. The wax melted from his wings, and he fell and perished. And that's literally what Tekken 8 is. Great ambitions, great, a great vision, it's good that we have Tekken 8 because it's good that the Tekken series is continuing because when you look at other games like Soul Calibur, right? Soul Calibur deserves Soul Calibur 7, and it's unfortunate that, COVID affected the state of things for, the game's life cycle. But yeah, I think the developers need to be honest and they need to get their words right. I mean, the defensive patch, people would tell you season two, in quote, the defensive patch, we got the complete opposite, and no one can deny that. So, and I mean, I could sense that lately the developers were silent, and I told myself that, usually when there's silence, people are frustrated because, they want communication. They want to see, hey, Satnav, where are we going? Where are we going with this? Silence is, we need to know, are you guys gonna patch the game? When are you gonna do it? And I understand, people's impatience, but I'm quite a patient guy. I give the developers a bit of grace, but I can just sense that they are trying to, just work quietly. And there's two outcomes that can happen. One, they can drop a really good balance patch, latest by season three next year, I would say. Or they can completely nuke the game and lose the trust of even more people than season two. To an extent where I feel that pro players will break the embargo and actually say outright that Tekken 8 is trash. That's what may happen. But I think we'll see what they will do once Armor King comes out. Obviously, people are also waiting for Miyaruzo, the final DLC character, and people are. I think there's a faint bit of hope for season three in the background. I think season three will be the ultimate final straw. But usually, when there's radio silence, it usually means that something great is being cooked. But I just hope, especially with the shift in development team, I hope that the former glory of Tekken is restored. Less jailing moves, adjust the heat system a bit because usually the weight of the game is determined by the mechanics. And even though they want to bring new players in, make ease of learning. And honestly, I praise the development team for the learning tools. We have replay takeover that other fighting games would dream of. Like imagine Soul Calibur 6 with replay takeover. Virtua Fighter is also getting replay takeover in the full game on world stage, which is great. No, in fact, they already have it actually at the moment. Um, but yeah, replay takeover, a lot of labbing tools. So in terms of learning the game, you know, they've done this is the best in terms of like learning aids, but balance wise, they just need to do something. But honestly, like yeah, like I said before, I took a break and I'm just, focusing on just real life and just enjoying other games, to be honest, because I tell myself and I jokingly tell other people this, that it's not everyday Tekken. Like you have to like, you know, I'm in my 30s now. I'm 34. I was 34 in September. And I'm on the road to being, debt free. By the end of November, I will be debt free. I would have paid off my final credit card and I'll be debt free. I can then focus on, building, advancing in my career, saving up for, a house, my own place, being able to, travel more as well. I can just do what more things that life has to offer, you know, live more in the real world and less in the digital world. Yeah. But I will say though that the only frustration I have is that even with all the accessible learning tools and all the great videos that content creators make in terms of getting better at Tekken 8, people are still, that I see on Twitter, they're still ignorant of punishment or just why things work in Tekken, the science behind Tekken. People are, we're in a generation of fighting game players where the majority want to they want to win without working hard. They want to win with minimal efforts. Not saying that, they're like the pro players who will pick the top tiers because pro players, they put in shifts in terms of being consistent at the game. I'm talking about the more, I guess, casually competitive or aspiring competitors who are trying to make it big, but they underestimate the kind of work it takes to be at the top or world class level. They complain, they grind ranked matches for 5, 6, or even 10 hours, they're unemployed, you know, and I just wish that if they could even use like just 1 hour or just a couple of hours just to, lab anti-characters, you know, they would honestly have a lot less to deal with. But yeah, that's my ranting out of the way. Um, well, not really a rant, it's just my thoughts really. But honestly, I'm grateful to be honest. I'm grateful, and it's good to see fighting game communities, regardless of the state of the game, there's people who will still play, the guys on Fightcade, they're playing Third Strike. Third Strike is imbalanced. Third Strike, games like Third Strike, Street Fighter Alpha, the Gen Zs, they will be eaten alive if they were to try and learn that game. If they were trying to, rush to get good at the game, they would be eaten alive by the unks. So, and yeah, the Soul Calibur community, I mean, shout outs to who do I remember? Andy Rue, Zero as well, who were TO'd at versus fighting. Shout outs to him. And yeah, just the guys in Europe keeping the, game alive. I don't really play Soul Calibur that much, but I am mindful of the history and the good interactions I've had with the community, in Europe and America as well, and even in Asia. And also Virtua Fighter as well. I mean, I really praise the Virtua Fighter community because they have suffered for over a decade with the same game, with the same balance, no balance. Like, how can you, like, you would be mad to just imagine if Tekken 8 had no balance changes. Like we got it on the fly and we had to endure with that game for 10 plus years. Like, Kai, Jesus, like, ah, I honestly, I like my biggest respect goes to the Virtua Fighter community because they have played this game on Xbox, on PlayStation for like over a decade, like Yakuza playing Virtua Fighter 5 on the arcade cabs. Like, man, and they have like a really close-knit community. The forums have preserved information. Let me tell you something, actually. Let me tell you something. A few days ago, I actually found out that the frame data for Tekken Tag 2 and Tekken 6 had disappeared. I think Aris, I don't think Aris renewed his website at avoidingthepuddle.com that had the Tekken 6 and Tekken Tag 2 frame data. So, it's really important that as a community, the legacy is preserved, I mean, it's just the change of times. We're in an era where people, they're in it for themselves, they say, what's in it for me? They want to rise to the top. They will step on each other's toes in order to, rise to fame. I mean, it's nothing new, but it's just the era we're in. The love of many growing cold, and it's important that, we have to remember that before we're fighting game players, we're humans, you know. And when we are fighting game players, we have to keep that community healthy and just, competitive, but also done out of a place of, respect and understanding. It's not perfect, but, the house sessions, the locals, even the Discord sessions, in the era of online, they're the things that keep people together. Tournaments as well. I find it very hard to even know when tournaments are happening unless they are part of a pro tour. Um, Smash GG and I guess X or Twitter. But I think there's an app that I think Speed Kicks has done where you can search for locals nationwide, if I remember correctly. But yeah, that's if you have a Twitter account or whatever. But otherwise, oh sorry, start.gg, not smash dot gg, start.gg. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. Jesus, it's 3 minutes past midnight. All right, let me play a few more.